welcome back to the end of another week. We still have our view, but I'm sure they're going to be out planting corn around us very, very soon. Along this side, I have the north shade garden. So it's doing pretty well. And I've got some things planted, not this week, but a little while ago. And you can kind of see they're recovering. I mean, slowly. The strawberries that I picked up from the other side of the road are doing okay. My lily of the valley bulbs are starting to come in. I bought myself a wasabi, so I'll give that a go. But yeah, all these other little green things are lily of the valley. And I'm going to plant some more shady stuff along that section, and we'll see what happens. Out in the carport, I made a dent in the giant pile of stuff, and I have plans to actually make that back area into like a garden shed that comes in from that door there. Because I don't really have a spot to do gardening that's protected from the rain. And I've decided that I'm going to confiscate that area for myself. So in the future, I will show you how that progresses. But it's a new idea, and Francis isn't opposed to it. So that's happening eventually. We had a contractor come out to talk to us about redoing the driveway. We had originally thought about putting asphalt down, and then actually after seeing one of the neighbors down there put asphalt in their driveway, we decided against it. So we're going to keep the gravel, but basically we're going to have it completely redone. And we're planning on putting gravel borders, like we're planning on putting borders to contain the gravel, kind of starting over by the mailbox there, and it'll come along here, leaving a little like 50 centimeter, 60 centimeter gap so that I can plant some flowers or pretty things along there. And then somehow something will happen here to make it look reasonable. And then this whole area, I'm going to salvage my mulch, and this area is going to have a concrete pad put in, which will kind of be the basis for eventually putting a greenhouse in this space here. Not something that we're going to do anytime soon, but it's just kind of on our wish list for things to get going in the future. The big exciting thing is that we got the net up and secure. So in the chicken safe zone, which is a mess, you can see I've actually opened the door, and that gives the chickens access to this other side, which I guess we can go in. We have like a door there. Oh, and we still have the netting because it's not perfectly like figured out yet. But yeah, so they're happily destroying things, looking for worms and stuff. They really love digging around the borders of things. So like over there, if I zoom in, they've started digging around the border. Nicely, whenever they get freaked out, they go into their safe zone. So that's super convenient. And then as the sun starts setting, they also start migrating closer to home for the evening. So far it's working out really well, but I come out here fairly regularly now to check, because like I say, they like digging around the perimeter. And yeah, they might, like here they dug up a gopher hole. But I'm just monitoring to make sure that they don't actually end up like successfully digging under the fencing or anything like that. I think it would take a while for them to dig a hole big enough to get under the fence, but I wouldn't put it past them to try. So we're keeping an eye on it. But I've planted some raspberries. So like this and that are the raspberries. And then I thought I had bought enough of these obelisks, but I didn't. And of course now they're out of stock. So I'll get something similar. It might not look the same, but these will also have obelisks so that the raspberries can grow up inside and then kind of like come over sort of like a tree. Speaking of trees, the trees are doing okay. I think the ground here is pretty alkaline because it's so clayey. So I am having some like issues with, I think it's called coriosis or something, but it's basically like I don't think they're uptaking the right nutrients from the ground because I don't think our soil is acidic to neutral enough for them. So I'm monitoring them and I'm giving them like citrus fertilizer and stuff, but hopefully they'll do okay. Meantime, let's get out here. Okay, so what else is happening? I'm topping up my potatoes. I mean, I need to top this one up again, but I had brought them up and they're starting to poke through. So some of these are basically done, and then others, as they keep coming through, I'll keep increasing the potting soil, but like those are basically at the top. This one needs some more. Those are at the top, and those down there need a bit more. But those are the potatoes, and they're looking really good. Nothing has been planted out in the, well, no, that's not true. This is going to be like the winter squash area. So I have planted a shallot. So that should come out as like a vine, and I've planted some like tuberous nasturtiums. They're called something else, but I can't remember the name at the moment. But they're coming up like here, Mashua, that's the name, and here. So there's a couple over here, and there's actually a couple over here, but they haven't all come up yet. And my idea is that they will climb up these obelisks. But I haven't grown them before. So I like to experiment. I mean, similar to the wasabi down on the other side, I like to experiment with new plants every year. So the shallot this year is my new one. Actually, there's a lot, because even these are the Apios americana groundnuts, and those are new. But they're coming up, and I'm excited. Basically, each of these little silver things has or had a little tiny sprout at the bottom of it. And they will grow up these spirals, and then they can go onto the ceiling and grow there. And they basically look like wisteria, except for you can eat the roots. In the flower area, the strawberries are looking pretty, and I actually have some things growing. So I think that's my chocolate cosmos, and these are like dahlias coming up. The peony hasn't come up at all, but there's some other dahlias, and I forget what I planted here. I think some type of lily or something that hasn't really done anything. But I still have a bunch of stuff down in that alley that needs to go somewhere, and I just haven't gotten around to finding a spot, but they'll get out eventually. Our strawberry patch is actually getting strawberries. Look at those. So exciting. They're so tasty too. I actually have, my mother-in-law gave me a kilogram of strawberries from the market that were fresh, and I turned those into a strawberry liquor. So we might have those. And I started making bread again. And I'm still doing my ginger ale every week. So that's cool and exciting. Kiwis are starting to do their climby thing. At least some of them. That one's not looking too great. But yeah, along the overgrown property line, there are a bunch of kiwis. And we do need to get out here and mow. We don't like mowing too much because we like leaving as much as we can for the wildlife. And it looks really cool at the moment. But yeah, it's literally like 3 feet tall. So it's getting a little out of hand. I think we probably need to do something about that. Out in the garden, nothing much is happening. Just same old. We got the beans going. I did get some flowers and then kind of promptly forgot about them. So I did give them some water. They should perk up again. I'm not too worried. I got some of them in the ground earlier. And I picked up some basil, which was cool because like basically each little pot of basil was $1.50 or €1.50. And they had 4 basil plants. So I was able to like actually separate each basil plant. And I've put them all the way around here. So with about 4 pots, I was able to fill in the space pretty well. And then I do need to start thinking about staking my tomatoes and stuff because they're starting to grow in, and I'm always like one step behind in everything. One of my goals this season is to get a little bit more on top of it, and then in 2026 hopefully I'll have like everything worked out and it'll be awesome, but we'll see. You can see gophers are driving me nuts, but yeah, they decide to pop up wherever they want. So like we have him popped up there and here, and yeah, they do whatever. It's annoying, but I try to live with them. And then the neighbor actually came out and hacked the hedgerow, which I guess is okay. I mean, technically, my husband actually looked into it, and he didn't buy this strip. The property's kind of weird because all around us is agriculture, and the guy who lives down there was originally the owner of everything, and they sold last year. So it's a new farmer who's exploiting the land this year. So this is the first time that they've cut the hedgerow. And he got really close. So there's only about a foot between the property line and where he stopped cutting. So I'm going to watch and see, because if he's just trimming, then I don't think I mind so much. But if he starts planting in it and actually exploiting the land that he's not owning, then I might have something to say about that. So we'll see what happens. But so far it's just been mowed and nothing's been damaged. So I'm not too worried, but you know, things to see as they develop. Anyway, I think that is it for this week. Things to come, I don't know. Next Sunday here is actually Mother's Day in France. So I'm sure we're going to be doing something for his mom. We may or may not be mowing out there. I'm going to continue working on my little gardening area in the carport, and I don't know what else. So I guess we'll just kind of see what tickles my fancy, and I'll let you know what I did next week. So in the meantime, we'll go back and check out the chickens. Oh, shiny. With the chickens too, we're actually getting 3 eggs a day now. So the black one, the gray one, and the white one are all laying, and the only one who's missing out is Little Miss Red. who's actually my favorite. So yeah, I'll leave you with the chickens doing their chicken thing. And that's it for this week. I hope you had a good one, and I will see you next week. Bye.